Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Neil and today we're diving into quadratic functions, what they are and the best strategies to graph them clearly and confidently. So if you're ready to master parabolas and boost your math skills, let's get started. Please make sure to subscribe because I'll be covering more about this topic in upcoming videos. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get started. Today we are going to talk about a quadratic function. What is a quadratic function? This is a relationship between two variables like x and y. Which can be written in the form of y equals to ax squared plus bx plus c. And as I said, x and y are variables and a, b, and c represent constants with a is not equal 0. Why? Because if a is 0, ax squared would be 0 and it is eliminated. So we only left with y equals bx plus c, which is not a quadratic function, is a linear equation. Okay. And for example, we have y equals negative x squared plus 3x minus 4, and I'm gonna find a, b, and c in this equation. A is the coefficient of x squared, b is coefficient of x, and c is this constant. Okay, so a is negative 1, b is positive 3, and c is negative 4 in this quadratic function. Okay, for any known value of x, the corresponding value of y can be found by substituting into the function. As an example, if y is 2x squared minus 3x plus 4, we are gonna find y when x equals to 2. Okay, so I'm gonna substitute this value into the quadratic function. Y equals 2 times 2 squared minus 3 times 2 plus 4. So this is 8 and this is negative 6. So 8 minus 6 is 2, 2 plus 4 is 6. So if x is 2, y is 6. And if we plot this graph, this function, point 2 and 6 is absolutely lie on this graph. So far, so good. We can test if the point lies on the graph of a function by substitution. As another example, we have 2 points. Point A is 2 and negative 8, and point B is negative 3 and negative 4, and we want to know, do A and B satisfy this equation? Y is negative x squared minus 3x plus 2. Okay. We know that the first coordinate is x, the second one is y. Okay, so y is negative 8 equals negative x squared minus 3x plus 2, and check if it works or not. So negative 8 is 2 squared is 4, negative 4, negative 3 times 2 is negative 6 plus 4, negative 10 plus 2 is negative 8. So as you can see, point A satisfy this equation. So we can say that A lies on its graph. And how about point B? X and y. Y is -4, negative x squared minus 3x minus 4. -9, +9, and these two numbers cancel out, add up to 0. So this is, +2. So as you can see, -4 doesn't equal to 2. So point B doesn't lie on the graph. Okay, as I said before, for any noun values of x, we can find y values by substituting. And we can reverse this process, which means we can also substitute a value for y and solve for x. If y is x squared plus 4x minus 5, we are going to find the values of x when y is 0. Okay, so y is 0, 0 equals x squared plus 4x minus 5. So we have a quadratic equation, and there are different strategies to solve for x, but one thing that I really like is using sum and product rule, because we have +4, this is the sum of two numbers, and -5, which is the product of these two numbers. So 5 times 1 is 5, -5 and 1, or 5 and -1. The product of both groups is -5. But because the sum of these two numbers is positive for a positive number, so the bigger number would be 0. It would be a positive number. So this group is our answer. 5 plus -1 is 4. So we can write this 0 equals x plus 5 times x minus 1. This is sum and product rule. And according to null factor, if a times b is 0, a is 0, or b is 0. We call this null rule. So I'm gonna use this x plus 5, the first parenthesis, equals 0. So the first answer for x is -5, and x minus 1 is 0. The second answer is +1. So there are two solutions for this equation. Okay, so y is 0 here. And if y is, for example, -9, we are going to find the values of x. Okay, substitute -9 into this equation. So -9 equals x squared plus 4x minus 5. And take -9 to the right side of the equation, so the left-hand side is 0. X squared plus 4x minus 5 plus 9. So x squared plus 4x plus 4 is 0. So this can be written as x plus 2 squared. This is a perfect identity, perfect square identity. So The only answer for x is -2. So for this one, we only have one solution. So if we have x, we can find corresponding value of y, or if we have the value of y, we can find the corresponding value of x, but by only substituting into the function. Okay. So far, so good. Another thing that I'm going to talk about today is graphs of quadratic functions. The simplest quadratic function is y equals x squared. And for graphing this, we can use table of values. In fact, we consider x different values, and then by substituting into the function, we can calculate the y values as well. Okay, if x is 0, 0 squared is 0. If x is positive 1, 1 squared is 1. And if x is 2, x 2 squared is positive 4. And some negative values like -1, -1 squared is positive 1, and -2 squared is positive 4. And I'm going to plot these 5 points in the x and y axis. The first point is 0 and 0, and then 1 and 1. Plot this. 2 and 4, which is here. -1 and positive 1, and -4, -2, sorry, and positive 4. And now I'm going to draw a curve that's passing through all of these points. Okay, this is the curve, and this is the graph of quadratic function y equals x squared. And we should know something about this curve. First of all is that this curve is called parabola. And this curve opens upwards. You can see this is opens upwards, which means that there are no negative values. These are negative values. There are no negative values for this parabola. And you can learn this trick. The coefficient of x squared is 1. So a is 1. Because 1 is a positive number, so this parabola opens upwards. So if a is a positive number, so the parabola opens upwards. But if a is a negative number, the parabola opens downward. It's a trick that helps you to find upwards or downwards of any parabola without plotting that. Okay. And we have a point here, which is a turning point. We call this vertex in a parabola. And in this parabola, because the curve opens upwards, this point has the minimum value of y. But if we have another curve, something like this, for example, y equals -x squared, if you draw this parabola, it's something like this, because a is a negative number. Sorry. A is a negative number, so this parabola opens downwards. And the vertex is here. And this is the maximum value of y, this point. And there are no positive y values. No positive y values for this parabola. And the curve is symmetrical about the y-axis. You can see this is the line of symmetry. And what is the line of symmetry? The line of symmetry for a parabola is a vertical or even horizontal line, but this is a vertical one here. And this line divides the parabola into two identical mirror image halves. You can see the same in the right side and the left side of this line. So we call this the line of symmetry. Let me show you. And this vertical line, the equation of that is x equals 0. Because this line is parallel to y-axis. So the equation is x equals k. And this number is 0 because the vertex is at 0 and 0. And now I'm going to draw the graph of another quadratic function and show all of these items on that question. So the graph is y equals negative 2x squared minus 4x plus 4, and from x negative 3 to x positive 1. So I'm going to draw a table of values. Okay, start from negative 3. Okay, and I'm going to substitute all these values into the equation. So, for x is negative 3, y is negative 2 times negative 3 squared minus 4 times negative 3 plus 4, which is 9, negative 18, positive 12, negative 2. And if y is negative 2, for negative 8, positive 8 plus 4, which is 4. And for negative 1, the answer is negative 2 plus 4 plus 4, which is 6. And for 0, 0 times 0 plus 4 is 4. And for 1, negative 2, 1 squared. And the answer is negative 2. Okay, and then I'm going to plot all of these points on x and y axis. Negative 1, 0 and 4 starts from this. 0 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and negative 2. -1 and 6, -2 and 4, -3 and -2. Okay. Okay, we have drawn this parabola, -2x squared minus 4x plus 4, and the graph is something like that, and the vertex is here. Vertex is at -1 and +6, which is this point. And I'm gonna draw a line of symmetry. Which is x equals to -1, the equation of that. And another thing, yeah, we can calculate the equation, in fact, the x coordinate of the vertex using this formula. X is -b over 2a. This is a trick. It helps you to find the equation of line of symmetry without graphing this function. So let me check if it works or not. Okay, so b is the coefficient of x here, -4, and a is -2. Okay, -b is -4 over 2a, and a is -2. So we have 4 over -4 is -1. So you can see that x is -1. This is the x coordinate. In fact, this is the x coordinate of vertex, or the equation of line of symmetry. So by using this formula, this trick, you can hit 2 birds with only 1 stone. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.